Hello and welcome back to marketing and to the Zing Agency. I've really been enjoying reading your comments and your work this week. I was especially interested with the good work that you're doing on the Barron's Bags project. This is a good example of sometimes how a boss will come to us with a project that seems pretty unrealistic and then expect us to almost work miracles. In this case, his wife and brother-in-law are dealing with an overage of a product that really, at first glance, is going to be almost impossible to move. Very, very plain black bags that have no design, no color, when there are so many other similar bags that are out there. But you all came with some fantastic suggestions. You really did. Several of them that came through involved the whole idea of societal marketing. You were talking about donating them to schools or to churches and taking the tax write-off and just be done with them. Others talked about packaging them with either school supplies or gift items and even decorating them with color. So you really did a good job. I want you to keep it up because it's just a really good start to our work. So this week we're going to be talking about competitive advantage and how we plan to get a competitive advantage. As we well know, every business has competition, and we know that it's going to be difficult to sustain that sometime. The training manual talks about sustainable competitive advantage, and the best way to describe that is that you do something really well that nobody else can copy very well. We had a spirited discussion in one of my face-to-face classes this week about the competition that McCafe out of McDonald's has tried to come up with against Starbucks. And the students talked back and forth, and to a person we decided that McDonald's was trying very hard, but it really didn't measure up to Starbucks. And they said it was everything from the service that you got at Starbucks to the atmosphere. You could sit and get free Wi-Fi, which you can also do at McDonald's, to just the taste was better. That all of that brought together actually did make the Starbucks coffee worth the $4 or $5 that you spend versus the $2 that McDonald's charges. So that's the kind of competitive advantage that Starbucks has built for what it started out as a very, very small coffee company, roasting and grinding coffee for another coffee producer, when they decided to start selling it. And first they just sold bags and later branched into the coffee shop that we all know. So let's look at competitive advantage and planning. All of you are going to have to do a marketing plan this semester as part of your work. It counts 20% of your grade, so it's really big. And I'm asking you to take a product either that you use or like, or even better, if you've got a business that you own or hope to own, this is a great time to do some strategic planning. I know that several of you have businesses and schools, and others are thinking about opening businesses. So this is a great chance to sort of look at how would you do it and what would you do to make it a success. So there are several parts of a business plan, and they're all really outlined very well in chapter 2 of your training manual. I want you to go back and refer to this several times as you're doing your project, because it just gives you so many good and helpful hints. So let's talk about the different parts. First is the business statement. It needs to be short and inspirational, and the business mission statement, something that will help people understand what business we're in, and give our workers a chance to be inspired. For instance, Purina's mission statement is not "we make dog food," because they make all kinds of animal food and medicines, and they do other things. Their mission statement is we provide the love for people who care for their pets. And it brings that whole touchy-feely. If you have a dog, and I know several of you do because we've talked about these, you know exactly what it means that we care for people who care for their pets. It brings a whole different sense from "we make dog food." So if you're looking at your mission statement, that's one thing. Next, you will be planning some objectives. And I like to think the best way to explain what the objectives are is to use the acronym SMART. They need to be specific, very detailed and specific. They need to be measurable, something that you can look back and either count or determine whether you succeeded or failed. They need to be attainable, something that you either have the skills within your organization or can find them to attain and actually do. They need to be realistic. If I said, I want to lose 20 pounds by next Saturday, I would have the measurable and the time sensitive, but realistic and obtainable absolutely would not be among that, because the only way I could do that pretty much is to cut off a leg. It's almost impossible to lose that much weight in a matter of 2 or 3 days. Finally, it needs to be time sensitive so that you can go back and look and see if you met your goal. If I say I want to lose 20 pounds in the next 4 months, that is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. If I don't lose that 20 pounds in 4 months, I have a chance to go back and say, well, what did I do that made me not lose it? Did I eat too much? Did I go to too many parties? Did I not exercise enough? What was it, and what can I change to maybe make that a success the next time? Once we've done that, we begin to look at our target market, that group of people most likely to buy or use our product. And based on that, we create our marketing mix. There are 4 components of every marketing mix, and they can all be changed depending on what the target is. For instance, if you're making a cake for somebody's birthday, first you would ask if there's something they don't like or if they're allergic to, so that if you find that you don't want to make a peanut and chocolate cake, especially if you later find out that the birthday person is allergic to peanuts. You would find out, is there something you can't eat or don't like, and change your recipe to do something that will meet their needs and wants. We do the same thing with the marketing mix or recipe. We start with a product. What is the product? And a product is an idea, a tangible thing, or a service. Next, we look at place, and place is getting the product to the customer in the right place, right time, when they need it. The distribution channels that bring coffee from the mountains of Columbia to Starbucks. The way we move product and getting it in a timely manner, and we'll discuss that later on in our course. Next, we look at pricing. Pricing is not always the best. It is not always the best to have the cheapest price, because sometimes we tend to think that way, especially when we're starting young families, struggling, going to school. We tend to think of our product is better because it's going to be cheaper, but for some people and some markets, that's not the indicator. And most of us have something that we're willing to pay extra for because it means so much to us. Finally, promotion. And this isn't just advertising, it is also sales promotion. It's premiums. If we decided to give a bag free with every group of groceries that was purchased, that would be a premium, because we would be giving them something with something else. So let's look at this, and we'll also be talking about competitive advantage. You want to stand out from your pack, and there are 3 ways that we do that. We may do it because our product is superior, or our service is better. We may do it because our cost, that our price is better, or our price is so high it indicates that something is of quality. And finally, a niche market, something that's small, specific, and just has a few people, but they're willing to spend enough money to keep us going. We'll be looking at Cirque du Soleil and seeing what they have to make it competitive advantage. There have been a lot of competitors and a lot of people trying to do what Cirque du Soleil does, but none of them meet up with it. As a result, Cirque can charge just about anything they want. Some of their tickets are actually $300 and $400. So, I hope you have a good week. If you have questions, please let me know. And a little note about the quizzes. I've chosen not to give you the right answers because I give you 2 chances to take this. So I've augmented them to at least let you go back and see which ones you got wrong so you can study and try again. So if you have questions, email me and I'll get back to you, and I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next time.